Hi y'all, welcome to Southern Staples. Thanks for joining me today, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so, and I'd love for you to invite your friends and family as well. Thanks so much, and have a great day. Today we're going to be making a family classic, which has been handed down through the generations. It's a Texas sheet cake, and I'm telling y'all what, it will be a crowd pleaser. Now this is actually my grandmother's recipe, so it's near and dear to my heart, and as you can see today, I'm actually in a neighbor's kitchen sharing this recipe with her. What you'll need for the basic ingredients are buttermilk. You can use low-fat buttermilk, but I think to make the tried and true Texas sheet cake, I would just rather you use the regular buttermilk. You'll need eggs, some pecan pieces, cocoa, vanilla, baking soda, Crisco, flour, sugar, and water, and a cookie sheet. So that's all, and let's get started. All right, the first step is involving 4 ingredients. You need 1 cup of water, 1 stick of butter, a 1/3 cup of cocoa, and a 1/2 cup of Crisco. So we have the heat over about medium high, and we're going to bring this to a boil. So I'll add my water first, the 1/2 cup of Crisco, 1 stick of butter. You can use butter or oil. I would make sure though that you are using unsalted butter, since we are baking. And then also a 1/3 cup of cocoa. And then you need to just stir this over medium to medium high heat, stirring it constantly, and then you want to stir this, as you can see, until it begins to boil. The Crisco and the butter will slowly start to melt and everything will join together. So just stir this until it comes to a nice boil. Okay, so now we have our cocoa, Crisco, water, and butter, unsweetened butter, that's coming to a boil slowly. Just keep stirring it, that way it doesn't get too hot. But you do want it to be at a rolling boil. And then what we're about to do is then add this that we've just brought to a boil on the stovetop to our flour, sugar, baking soda, and eggs, and the rest of our ingredients. And actually we can go ahead and get started while that finishes boiling. What we're going to do is have 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of flour, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I've already pre-measured it, so add that in. We have a 1/2 cup of buttermilk right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a teaspoon of baking soda, and add that to your buttermilk. And then you want to dissolve the baking soda in your 1/2 cup of buttermilk. This will then go in with your sugar, flour, eggs, and vanilla. Just kind of stir this, and as you can see over here, this is about to come to a boil, and this we will add this to our dry mixture, and this will be our batter. Now, like I said earlier, this Texas sheet cake is really easy. Just take some basic ingredients, but I do recommend that you do use a cookie sheet that does have sides, because it does rise kind of like a cake since it is a sheet cake. But I'm telling y'all, it's going to be the hit of your family. It'll be a good family favorite from moving forward. I remember when my grandmother would visit, and this is what her ticket inside the door was. We always loved it, and it goes fast. So you might even want to make 2. And we are all ready too. We've preheated our oven to 350. So once our chocolate is boiling, we'll add that to this right here, and then we'll spread it out into our baking pan. Okay, looks like this is boiling, just barely. And y'all, you can serve this. Once you serve it, you can serve it with ice cream. But frankly, it is so good. We always just ate it by itself. It went pretty quickly. So add that. Remember to turn your burner off. I'm going to switch back to my spoon. And this is good too, y'all, because I've only used one pan and one big mixing bowl. So not a whole lot to clean up, just a two pan project. And just really smooth this where it gets nice and smooth. If you have a mixer, use an electric mixer. I think this is an easy project. I would just stir by hand, and then that way you can gradually mix it together. All right, so we've gotten this where it's really smooth. As you can see, it's a nice cake batter consistency, and we're going to put it in this cookie sheet. And like I said, it really helps. It has to have sides. It will not work if you use a cookie sheet without sides. And this is an ungreased cookie sheet. So we're just going to pour this in here. Doesn't this look great? I'm telling y'all, it is so good. I can't wait to try it. And then remember, we're going to put it in the oven at 350. I've already preheated my oven. And it will be in for about 20 minutes. So this is really a fast, great dessert. And I'm telling y'all, everyone will ask for the recipe and they'll assume you've been making it forever. And it's been in your family like mine forever as well. So we'll just kind of smooth it out, as you can see, like those corners. Make sure the batter is really spread out everywhere. And that's it. So we're just going to pop this in for 20 minutes at 350. There we go. All right, now while the Texas sheet cake's in the oven at 350, we've got a few minutes left. And as my grandmother's original recipe says, a few minutes left in the oven, go ahead and start on your frosting. So we already have 1 stick of unsalted butter. I've got my heat on medium high, and you're going to let this melt. We're also going to add in a 1/3 cup of cocoa. Y'all, this frosting is great, and this is really important to it. So this is just the first step of it. And then we also are going to use our buttermilk again. We're going to use 6 tablespoons of the buttermilk that we also used in the cake batter. And what you're going to do is you're just going to let that slowly melt. The sign that this is ready is that the butter has completely melted. So just keep stirring until your butter is melted. Okay, now as you can see, the butter is completely melted. And that's exactly what you want this to look like. So this, remember, this is the first step of the frosting. So in here we had 6 tablespoons of buttermilk, 1/3 cup cocoa, and a stick of unsalted butter. And I left it over medium-high heat. Alright, so as you can see, we have completely melted our butter. And this was the cocoa, buttermilk, and stick of unsalted butter. This is what you want it to do. This is the first step of your frosting for your Texas sheet cake. So now we're going to take that off the heat, and then over here we're going to mix some dry ingredients up. We have 2 cups of powdered sugar. Now my grandmother's original recipe called for a box of powdered sugar, but if you don't have a box, that's 2 cups of powdered sugar, and then a teaspoon of vanilla. And I always like, just as a good measure, to when I'm pouring or measuring, to measure over an extra bowl in case it would spill over. That way you don't run your main dish in case it would spill over and you have a little bit more than you want. And then you're going to add in this great, delicious cocoa buttermilk into your powdered sugar and teaspoon of vanilla. And like I said, you really want to be making this frosting right before your cake comes out, because it's very important that you frost your cake, and what we'll do is just pour it over it. But the cake needs to still be hot when you pour the frosting on top. So just mix this in real well. And again, this is just 2 cups powdered sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, and then your melted butter, buttermilk, and cocoa from your stove. And you do need to do this all at the same time. And y'all, this frosting is to die for. I mean, this with the cake on top of it. And then we're also going to sprinkle some chopped up pecans. It is fabulous. Now, the cake's ready. It's been in for 20 minutes. Make sure it's going to be real hot, so use your pot holders. All right. And it should look like that. You can see where it's risen, and that's why it is important for you to use the baking sheet with the sides, as you can see. And then you just pour this right over. Doesn't this look great? This will be, I'm telling y'all, this is a family favorite, and I'm thrilled to share it with you. And make sure you get all of that out. If you'd like to use a spatula, feel free to do so. Really spread that out over your cake. And you can see I've kind of got a little powdered sugar. And if you see that, you can just kind of lightly stir that. That way it's real well mixed. Spread it all over. And like I said, this cake's right out of the oven and your frosting has just been mixed up. So it's all coming out at the same time. And the cake only takes 20 minutes. So this is really a fast sheet cake to make. You know, if you have people coming over tonight and you need a real showstopper dessert, this is such an easy one. And like I said, you could serve it with ice cream, fresh strawberries or raspberries, or really it is so good just by itself. And I'm going to take a bag of fancy pecan pieces. Just for ease, I bought a bag that already is chopped up. We're just going to grab some, and you just sprinkle it all over the top. If you want yours chopped up a little bit more fine, that's totally fine. It's just personal preference. I just bought a bag that way. It's easy to do. And if you're taking this to somebody's house as a dessert, it really travels well. Like I said, my grandmother would bring it all the way from a couple states over when she would come to visit us. And it really keeps well. But I'm telling you, once it arrives, it sure does not last long. And I will also post the recipe on the Southern Staples linked in with this video. And thanks y'all so much. This was so much fun to make my grandmother's Texas sheet cake with y'all today. Thanks so much for coming back to the Southern Staples kitchen. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and also invite your friends and family to as well. Thanks, and y'all have a great day.